Bringing Back the Live week ends with the biggest live album all the time of all time. Frampton comes alive. Before that, he wasn't alive until this album.
That's true.
I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Ew.
I'm Ron Bennington. Quite the show we have lined up for you today on this, what I like to call Good Friday.
Is this Good Friday? I feel
is.
like it's...
Every Friday is a Good Friday. I always like to say TGIF.
That was you who came up with TGIF?
Yeah. I also said I'm getting my Friday on and can't wait to drink and drive tonight. Those are my things.
And didn't you write that song where it's like, it's Friday, Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's working for the weekend.
You know that girl was killed? She,
oh my God.
Yeah, she fell into a cement mixer.
It's horrible. What about that girl in the pink dress who was like such a good dancer with her friend?
Just elected to Congress.
Wow. That makes
You
sense.
never know
she
who's going
looks
to do
smart.
All right, I've been just asked to read this from our lawyers. None of what Ron said is true. It's all satire and parody. Louis Anderson, a little later on. This is a perfect show for Mother's Day weekend because Louis has written a book that you should pick up and give to your mom. Hey, Mom, stories from my mother, but you can read them too. That's available now in stores and online. You can get items each different way now. You can actually get online with them.
You can get a book online?
Yes, you can. You can even get an audio book online and have somebody read that book to you.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe, but it is true. So a lot coming up today. I think we're going to have a special guest coming by, but we're not 100%. I don't like to put the pressure on the good folks in booking. I mean, they have a hard time.
They do.
You know? I don't know, like, where's our fucking guest? Where's Rita? Well, I shouldn't have even said that much. That puts an extra amount of pressure.
But they're dealing with artists, and you know how artists are. They could just wander here and there with their free thinking minds.
Here's what I love to sing with her. Take the ribbon from your hair. I don't know if anybody else said, but I literally am Kris Kristofferson.
That is true.
No, here's the problem. It's a lot of pressure on me. Watch closely now.
You think she's going to get confused when she comes in and
If
sees
she
you?
does, I could get a big slap across my face. So anyway, that'll be cool if it happens. And it's always, I don't know, it's always that thing to me, like my favorite people are stop in when I was younger. You know what I mean? I'd rather see my favorite people from when I was a kid than my favorite people now.
Yeah, I think because they're frozen in time for you as just kind of being legendary in that way. It's like the biggest star could walk in the room right now.
Who's the biggest star today? Who's the biggest star in the world today? Who's the biggest pop star? We don't even know.
No.
Who?
No,
Taylor Swift.
I thought you said Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith
I
is up
would
there.
be really excited.
I would rather see Kevin Smith than Taylor Swift.
100%. I'd be more excited.
I'd rather see Derek Taylor than Taylor Swift. No one else knows? Played with Crosby, Stills, Nash. Here's what I'm trying to say to everybody. Go ahead, no.
What if Kanye himself walked in?
Would mean nothing to me if Kane came in this room. I'd be like, you're crazy. Isn't that what we're supposed to say to him? He's a kook.
I guess really our biggest celebrity is Donald Trump. Weirdly enough, that's our biggest celebrity.
And he is the most talked about. I'm going to say this. I don't think anyone has said it. He's the most talked about person, I believe, in the history of the world. And
pretty weird.
And he's got the whole world talking. I mean, if you're in the Mideast, they're talking. I remember the day that he shot some missiles into Syria. I go in there to get a cup of coffee, and some of the girls, we have dreamers that come in and work at the coffee place I go to. And one of the dreamers is a Russian. She said, I was just talking to my friends in Russia, and they're terrified the U.S. is going to start shooting missiles at them. I go, no, honey, just let your friends know No, we're just doing something else.
Hey, we get a little weird now and again.
My point is, they're talking about him everywhere.
yes.
He's the most talk. Now, think back to Obama. How many times do you even think? Like, you might say Obama as a joke or Obama did
Right.
something, but I don't think we were talking about him all the
No.
time. Even if you hated him, you were just like, can't fucking stand Obama.
Like, who-
And that would be it.
Who would be the biggest celebrity of your youth that you would say? Like when you were young, who
When
was
I
in
was
that position?
young, my heart was an open book. I used to say, live and let live. You know I did, you know I did, you know I did. When I was a very little kid, the Beatles were still together.
Right.
So that could possibly be it. In my teenage years, shit, I don't know who would be Elton John or somebody. I mean,
Right.
it wasn't that massive.
Because it's weird when you compare. Because I think for me, I think you got to go probably Michael Jackson was
Yeah.
probably the biggest celebrity. He was like
that's what I would
the
think. That's
idea
what he
of
was.
like too big of a celebrity that it was
Right.
like out of control. Michael Jackson, and I still feel like Trump.
10 times bigger than Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like
He's bigger than Michael Jackson and Nixon put together.
yeah.
There's no one bigger. I walk the streets of New York all the time, and I just keep hearing Trump, 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 Trump.
Everyone is in a
And then
conversation.
people go
about
by
Trump.
and take pictures of his house, and nobody, he's not there.
Mhm.
And they're just like, here's pictures of the Trump Tower. I'm like, what kind of fucking vacation is this? Are you taking a picture of a fucking glass building where the guy isn't even at? Get a picture of me in front of the Trump Tower, and I'll act like I'm rich. No, I don't think anyone ever comes close.
No, not even close.
My biggest childhood celebrity was
Nobody
Tony
asked you.
Hawk.
Nobody asked you.
Tony Hawk was not.
Tony Hawk was fucking huge. There was video games named after him. Everybody learned how to
Dude,
skateboard in the 90s because
You're
of him.
talking about people your age.
Yeah,
We're
we're
talking about
your-
everybody. I could have said Evil Knievel, okay?
That's
But
up
I'm not
there.
going to fucking bother with that. That's dumb.
Like you also lived in the same era as like Michael Jordan. You can't
Yeah,
say
and-
Tony Hawk.
And if you even went around to any thing and say, who's Tony Hawk? Not a single adult would know who you were talking
But
about.
Michael Jordan was before me.
Yes, he was before. What year are you talking about?
Like 98, 99.
Guess who was playing? Michael Jordan.
That was like mid-retirement years, wasn't it?
And yet, he still
Still was
sold
huge.
more fucking sneakers than anybody.
Yeah, he was like never not.
He sold more
On TV.
sneakers than Tony Hawk sold fucking boards.
I mean, that man could sell a shoe.
He still makes $100 million a year.
His brand is bigger than Nike. And it's like a part of Nike.
Well,
it's
then
his.
how did
It's not bigger than
But
Nike.
it's bigger than the Jordan brand is
Just
bigger than the
let's
Nike
let him
brand.
have him. We already just went through the Tony Hawk thing with him. This is when he starts to strike back and get weird.
Jordan
Please,
sells.
please stop.
I'll shut the fuck up.
Please stop. We were having such a nice show.
I
weren't
know
we?
it was good.
And we were talking about, all the different things. Even Chris is normal today.
Yeah.
Jen's being nice. You just yelled out Tony Hawk is the biggest star in the world.
Of my
Which, by
child.
the way, nobody asked you. I could say Yogi Bear was the biggest. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just to me. All right? Peter, you got to keep I want you want to work in radio, right?
Yes.
Where's the train stay?
On the tracks.
Why are you constantly driving through swimming pools with the train? man?
Killing children.
I mean, we all like to swim, dude.
Everybody's in a good mood. Then you're yelling, fucking Tony Hawk is bigger, Gail.
You stupid
Fuck
cunt.
you.
I didn't say that.
You
I heard
basically
you.
came across that way.
That's what I heard.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris loves when Vito
Third
comes
on
not
a
on.
gonna
pile.
say anything
Third
back.
on a pile. Which, by the way, hurts not only the person on the bottom, but the people that are on top of it.
I know.
Help me make it through the night. All right, so that's coming up. You guys love Louis Anderson, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if there's anyone on this green earth of ours that's nicer than Louis Anderson.
No, he's so incredibly sweet, and this was just a really fantastic.
All right,
unmasked.
what's sweeter, Louis Anderson or a butterfly?
Oh my god! I think Louis Anderson, because like a butterfly doesn't even say sweet things.
Remember that song too? Don't go chasing Louis Anderson. Stick to the rivers and the valleys they used to. Tony Hawk's the biggest star in the whole world today. Jordan's bigger than Nike. No, in that song, you see how crazy this shit is. You can see how insane it is.
It's a lot of stuff going on there.
That's like you running in here yelling, California is bigger than the United States. Motherfuckers, deal with it. I'm like, why are you pointing at the board, Chris? You got tech problems?
Yeah. There's something wrong.
Are we off the air right now?
Please tell me we're not.
No, we're not off the air, but we should break and sort of try to fix this thing
Why?
because I can't fix it if we're on live on the air. It's going to sound fucking crazy.
Just try.
And, seriously, and all the years I've been doing radio, nobody has said to me, we have a problem. It can't be fixed on the air.
Yes, we have to break to fix it.
That's not true. It could not be true what you're
I
saying.
swear to God, it's true.
Oh God,
Oh.
no! Don't
To
do
the
that.
Good Lord,
No, Chris.
to Jesus Christ.
Stop.
He's an atheist and a bad one at that. He's a bad atheist. He's the kind of atheist that kills children, which is really just a regular atheist. All right, ladies and gentlemen, to stop this meltdown, and
Please.
if we don't break right now, satellites will fall from the sky. But we'll be back in moments, Chris?
In moments.
Or do you need an hour to fix
I'm
this?
not going to need an hour, no.
Suddenly he's Scotty. You know what I mean? From Star Trek, and he doesn't have the power. I don't have the power, Captain.
Should we get someone else in here? I don't know if this sounds like it.
Should I crawl under a table right now? Should I tuck and roll?
No,
You realize that Tony Hawk's the biggest celebrity ever.
I don't think that's true.
Ask anyone I fucking was in kindergarten with, bitch.
Jesus, Vito.
Fix your old problem, Chris.
I am, once we go to break.
Look, let Vito get the fucking train in the pool. That's where trains go.
Train pool.
Back in moments with a new fixed regime that you're going to love. The new improved Bennington returns right after this. It's the Bennington Show coming up in a little bit. Louis Anderson, Unmasked. Who doesn't love Louis Anderson? And then this is exciting. In just a few moments, Rita Coolidge will be here. She has a brand new album out, which is really kind of funky 70s cool. It's called Safe in the Arms of Time. But it really does remind you of like that Canyon music scene, you know, that Jackson Browne and all those kind of people were in together. I mean, Rita Coolidge was part of so many great scenes.
Yeah, she kind of came up in like a really fantastic time. I mean, she knew everybody, right?
Well, not only did she know everybody, she dated quite a few. So she's recording with, well, Bonnie and Delaney is still thought of as one of the greats of all time. And that led her to be in with Eric Clapton. And there was always a story about the song Layla, that it was Jim Gordon, the drummer, the famous drummer, was playing that riff, that famous Layla riff. But it was really his girlfriend, Rita Coolidge's riff. And I don't know whether she got credit for it all, but it's a known fact that was her. And that's the song, in my opinion.
Wow. And so then he kind of just took it as his own. And
Yeah,
then
he just said,
used
hey,
it.
yeah, I got it. You know, like, hey, this is helping me at work, honey. But she sang backup for Joe Cocker. And then there was maybe the most famous tour of all times, which was Mad Dogs and Englishmen. And Leon Russell was the kind of band leader for that, right?
Yeah.
So he gave her some of the songs that the Carpenters ended up singing, and I think they had a thing, and then she sang back up for Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and her and Graham were together, and then she was also later married Kris Kristofferson when they were like the it couple of country music.
Wow, yeah.
When country music kind of went from being like rhinestones to the whole Waylon and Willie type thing. She and Kris Kristofferson were about as big as you get. But then she did stuff with Dave Mason, and like the list just goes on and on and on. Just one of those pure, great voices, but then something even beyond. Like, you don't know why certain people also bring you in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like just when someone has just a really magnetic voice or
Aura, something, you know what I mean? Like, there's some people have to like just really push out hard to be stars, and other people draw you in.
Yeah.
I mean, she probably for a couple years had the most famous hair on the planet. You know what I mean? Just
super
this,
long and sleek and straight,
yes,
right?
Yeah, it was just that kind of Native American
So
hair
beautiful.
that's just so gorgeous.
She's so stunning.
Oh, she's stunning, and she's just this album, man. It just takes you back to that era. She just she wrote a book a couple years ago about that whole era. And it was one of the, you know how I love that era as it is, but she really captured it. It's called Delta Lady. And that song that Joe Cocker did and Leon Russell did was written about her. You know what I mean? Like, not only she's this great singer, and Joni Mitchell had the same thing. They're also a muse to the other writers.
That's the kind of cool thing, is to be both, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have the power of being the artist.
Yes.
But also, like, the femininity and the...
Right. That thing to be the muse. Like, look how many... Like, Kris can't write jokes, but I've written so many jokes about him.
You're the muse.
He's my muse in a lot of ways.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And he's getting replaced by a younger, stronger Kris, who is Vito. I don't want to take this away from Rita Coolidge, all right?
No,
So
let's not.
Jen is getting her for us now. But this is, again, one of those things I wish I could just tap myself on my young shoulder and go, dude, Rita Coolidge is going to come in. Oh, and she is now. This is album is called Safe in the Arms of Time. And what's the name of this?
Walking on Water.
One of the beautiful songs on here. Rita Coolidge from the new album Safe in the Arms of Time. That's Walking on Water. So great to see you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
What a really pretty, soulful, kind of organic album.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How did this all come about? Who, at this point, it's been a while since you made an album, right?
It has. The last album was 12 years ago, and it was a jazz album, or kind of a standards record with some really wonderful jazz players. So, yeah, this is a complete departure from that.
So how did this come about? How did this all come down?
You know what? I think it probably... I was not conscious of it, but I think after I wrote my book, and in the process of writing that book and kind of revisiting some of the music, some of my earlier music, as I was revisiting my earlier, younger life, I think that I kind of realized that there was something in those early recordings, kind of that organic, kind of earthy, just rootsy kind of sound that I left behind as I went on to... as the record company pushed me to record hits and trying to figure out whatever that formula was. I think that I got further away from the magic of those early records, and kind of realizing that I just was trying. It just something just haunted me about that, and it was like you can still find that, Rita.
Yeah,
get back there, and so that was my goal. That was my goal.
Delta Lady is the book that you put together, and first of all, you've had, of course, an extraordinary career, but also you lived in such extraordinary times and knew so many wonderful people that stuff had to make you kind of take a look about, like, what a life that you've had.
Yeah, and that's the reason I wrote the book, because I really did have such a wonderful view of what was going on in the music in Memphis and in England, and certainly in Los Angeles, because that's where I landed. But I was all over the place, and from session work to finding the Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and finding my own career in there, and that's why I wrote the book.
Well, almost at any point, any of those things that you did, would have been a book in itself. You know what I mean? Like the Mad Dogs and Englishmen could easily be a book. The session work was, at the time where session work was just amazing. Great players, great singers and songwriters. I mean, everything was in line. And the fact that you were right there in the pocket for all that was always amazing to me.
It was. And, you know, when I signed with HarperCollins to do the book, and discussed, you know, what we were going to cover, because clearly I have so many years that it would be War and Peace if I wrote the whole thing.
Yes, exactly.
So I really wanted to focus on that time because it was such a wonderful time in the music business when, you know, in the late 60s and 70s when music really became a voice of what was going on in the world around us, and just being around, you know, bands like Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and being a part of this legendary Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour, and you know, before that, Delaney and Bonnie, and Eric Clapton, and Dave Mason, and George Harrison, and just all those people. And we were all just like kids, just kids working together and just having a great time.
When you were doing that backup singing, though, was the goal always to front your own band, always to make your own albums, or?
I was pretty happy being a background singer. I think that the thing that changed that was seeing A&M Records and the way they dealt with their artists, the fact that they weren't telling people what to do. They really embraced the relationship with artists, and they weren't out to you know, for the first record you even have a hit or you're out of here. You know, they made it clear when I signed with them that they were in for. They said, we're in for the distance, you know. We just want to make great records, and we're not chasing hits. We just want you on the label. And that was a real safe and wonderful place to be.
Well, Graham Nash wrote a song on this, and I've had him on the show like 5 or 6 times. And I always find him amazing because I always feel like he gets it, that he knew how extraordinary all these experiences were. And you worked with some of the greatest songwriters of all time. You know, we're talking about Dylan or Kris Kristofferson or Leon Russell. I mean, that kind of magic was popping up on a daily basis for you.
It was. Yeah. And, you know, and my gosh, at least 2 of those people were writing songs about me too.
Yes.
So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. What is that like when you hear an amazing song and you find out you're the muse of that?
I think when Leon wrote "Song for You," which to me is probably at the top of my list, is the most beautiful song ever written. A love song. I love you in a place where there's no space or time. I love you for my life. You are a friend of mine. It's just the most beautiful lyric, and the music. Even, you know, when Leon sings it, which is just the rawest version of all. You know, everybody has sung that song. But I think Leon's version is just so beautiful. Yeah.
And it's so oddly heartbreaking, the way that he sings that song, you know what I mean? Like, and I think it's that thing, there's that moment, you know what I mean? That it's that moment in time that works with his voice on that song.
It is. And, you know, Leon didn't have the most beautiful voice, but absolutely effective. Yeah.
Well, he did have soul. He was a very soulful person, every single part of him.
Absolutely.
It's odd that you would bring that up because the things we carry reminds me in an odd way of that song. You know, it's that thing that we're holding on to. And how did that song come together?
Well, it's, I was, you know, when I was trying to gather songs, and it was a period of 2.5 years, because the first song that I chose was the song that Graham Nash and Russ Kunkel wrote, "Doing Fine Without You," because I had this kind of this gnawing kind of feeling, you know, that I was going to make this record, and the kind of record I wanted to make. And when Graham sent me that song, he had it demoed by a woman, and when I got the song, it just kind of was the spark that started this whole thing going. So I knew I knew the kind of record I wanted to make, and I knew the things that I wanted to say. I lost my sister in 2014, and tragically, and I had been trying almost on a daily basis after she passed, after she was taken. I would sit down at the piano and just try to write a song for Priscilla, and I could never do it. I would end up in tears, and I would end up walking away from it and just saying, it's still too painful. And when I heard the things we carry, it was the song that I'd been trying to write, and I still can't sing it. I could barely get through doing the vocal in the studio, but it's just so emotional for me, and I think it is for a lot of people when they hear it. It touches people.
Yeah, and it's just like when we were talking about, you do carry the joy in your life, and we were talking the things that you've experienced in your life, but we also all share some sort of tragedy, no matter who we are.
That's right.
And the fact is, most of the time we don't bring it up. Most of the time we just walk through life, and people will go, "How you doing?" You're like, "Oh, I'm okay." You know what I mean? But not sure if anybody really is. And that's the beautiful thing, I think, about the kind of music that you were drawn to and have come back to. You know what I mean? Because it is that tender nerve, isn't it?
I think it is. It certainly is for me. And, this has been, writing the book was very cathartic, but not nearly as much as making this record, because I know that my sister, I carry her, and I know that she is so very proud of this record, and that she's been with me through it all. But we have as a recording artist, as a songwriter, I feel like we have the advantage of being able to kind of share our experiences with other people, and somehow in finding peace, that I'm able to give somebody else comfort by somebody else just listening to this song and saying, well, somebody else feels the way I do, or somebody sang what I'm feeling right now. And with the things we carry, somebody wrote exactly what I have been feeling, and can now share.
And it's odd because once you put that song out into the world, it kind of belongs to the world in any way that it's interpreted, right?
Absolutely. Songs have wings.
Yeah.
And, some of them unfold and fly, and some of them just kind of live like a baby bird in a nest.
So when we go back of Graham sending you this song, you hadn't recorded for a while. Why do you think that he reached out and said, "Hey, I got a tune for you"?
Because he and Russ wrote a great song, and I think that everything was in divine order. That he went,
yeah.
I think Rita could do this one. Let's send it to her. And I didn't have a record deal at the time. I was still in negotiations with a record company that I ended up walking away from, and then was asked to join Blue Line. But he knew that. I said, Graham, I don't have a record deal right now, but it's in the works. And is there any way that we can put this song on hold? Because I promise you, I'm going to cut this. It's the first one.
Yeah.
It's the first one. And he's like, absolutely, love. And I know that he could have placed it I'm sure he could have placed it with Bonnie Raitt. He could have placed it with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he and Russell put it on hold for me. So, yay.
Yeah. But it is, like you said, that odd thing that kind of, when things come together, like when there's a great album, it always seems like the perfect players are playing on that album, and it doesn't have to be the best guitar player in the world, but it's the best guitar player sometimes for that song or that album. And that's always one of the great mysteries to me.
Well, it is. And, and that's, having a producer like Ross Hogarth, who is, not only literally is best friends with so many amazing writers and artists, like Keb Mo and Stan Lynch and all of these people. David Grissom is his best buddy, and David's a guitarist that lives in Austin, just brilliant. And my keyboard player, John Thomas, was the keyboardist on the record. But when Ross and I are both pooling our resources of love for musicians and people that we thought were going to fit this project perfectly, and possibly they're not well, I think they're the best, but in somebody else's eyes,
Sure.
they might not think that they were the best people. Bringing Joy Landreth from Winnipeg, Canada, from a band that nobody in this country knows, the Brothers Landreth, finding that kid, and because I love that band, and I'm just listened to their record. They only did one album so far.
Yeah.
Joey's done an EP, but getting Joey Landreth down from Canada to work for 3 days, and absolutely the most brilliant guitar. He just reinvented slide and sings like an angel. So all of those pieces falling in, and being able to write with Kebmo and having Kev sing with me on this song we just heard, Walking on Water, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and it does feel well. For me, the album right off the bat feels somewhat timeless because of that time that we were talking about when I first really fell in love with music, and it's all the people that we were talking about, that you and the people that have been in your life. But those things seem like they happened. That kind of scene would come together pretty easily back there, and you were able to just recreate that. And I don't see anything even nostalgic about this record, you know what I mean? But there's something that just you can kind of pull out of this place and time. Well,
and I think that I realized with my, what I would call my vision for this record, which we both shared, that was really the magic when I met with Ross Hogarth and we got to know each other and started talking about the record we wanted to make. And this was at least 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. Ross totally understood, and we also understood that to try to recapture the spirit and the energy from those early records, but bring it up to now.
Yes.
Make it contemporary, but have it really resonate, like, as you said, like a record that's timeless. That's a whole lot of stuff to bite off and to attempt to do. But with him, I knew we could do it. He was such a great partner to be beside me on this journey.
Well, I think so many of those songs that we fell in love with were kind of living room songs first, you know what I mean? So a lot of that, when you even think of the way Crosby, Stills, and Nash come together, it was for, hey, can we do this? Can we sing this way? Same with Leon meeting with Joe Cocker, is like, first was like for the joy of it all before getting into the business. The business seemed like it was further in the background there. In terms of the songs.
Yeah. Well, I feel that way about this. This was not ever a business deal.
Yes.
Well, it never is with musicians.
Right.
Well, certainly not me.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I know nothing about is the business. I just want to make music and want to make really records that resonate with people, that people feel like they're in my living room and I'm singing to them. I'm right here. I'm right on your shoulder, and I'm singing about how you're feeling.
Yeah, I always think that's the reason why we viewed musicians from that era as friends. You know what I mean? First of all, it was a completely audio experience. Most of these people, we weren't thinking about how they looked or whatever. It was somewhat more of a magical thing just to be alone or with friends listening to that music.
Yeah, and I also at that time we looked like the people that were making music. We dressed like the people that were making music, which is certainly not the case right now with the top 40 artists. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that Beyonce's audience looks anything like her.
Right.
And certainly they don't have the wardrobe and the hairdo.
Yeah, that is true. And you and Kris could have walked right out through the parking lot and looked exactly like the people who showed up at those shows.
That's exactly right.
Well, congratulations on this album. And I'm amazed that you said this was more cathartic than writing the book, because that's that other thing that music brings along to that healing factor. that we don't even understand, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, this record really, really speaks about my life now, and it's a positive thing, and I want that to be a message for people of my generation and on down. I want people to really realize that the theme, like from Walking on Water, is love is everywhere, and you can fall in love. It's right in front of you, and that's the really important thing. And because I know that there's a void for people that are music lovers who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s that just want to hear music the way we've always listened to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to draw in everybody, but it's very important for me from my generation and younger generations to have music that gives them comfort and makes them happy, makes them feel good.
Yeah, there is an importance to art that sometimes we leave behind us. You know what I mean? The way that your heart can be open to music when you're a young person. And I think it is dangerous to become too nostalgic about it. The way people think, oh, the music when I was in high school was the best music. We have a natural inclination to do that. But you just brought up young people that you brought in to work on this album with you that are great. Mm-hmm. It's just harder to find them with so much stuff going on.
It is. Yeah. But man, was it wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You're fantastic and you look fantastic, and I'm so happy for you with this record. It's safe in the arms of time. Rita Coolidge, what a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much for so many years of great music. I really appreciate it. Anything to get some Rejoiner music. Kris, did you get that thing? The guy sent some Rejoiner ideas?
Yes, Decibel Dan.
Dan, what'd you think?
Oh, how is he?
I liked them.
Oh my God. He's going to be tough to talk to again.
What is this?
If it comes up as business, he has zero confidence.
I liked them.
Yeah, I like them. And then that's the end of it. This is the creative. Basically, when you're the executive producer, you're the creative executive of the show. He's like, I like good things. I don't like bad things.
What don't you like about the bad things?
They're bad.
Sorry, Kris. I treat you like a human. That's my fucking fault. It's like if you're in charge of Elephant Man, you got to remember, I'm with Elephant Man. You can't say to Elephant Man.
Be normal, Elephant Man.
You can't say to Elephant Man, you want to go out and get a slice or a taco. It'll just send him into a whole fucking weird world for himself. Kris, where did you go to school?
I went to SUNY Purchase.
SUNY Purchase. That's in Westchester, right?
Yes, Westchester, New York.
Now, would you guys have considered that, because I know there's schools near you, a college town or nigh?
I would say no.
Not
big enough.
No, because there wasn't enough that it was so inside. We didn't have places to hang out outside of school that were college friendly.
Okay.
Whereas a college town caters to the idea that the
college
people,
runs the town.
Yes, exactly. So they think about bars, restaurants, nightlife, museum, stuff like that, stuff that college kids would do. They didn't think about that.
I had read a thing before that said a lot of retirees like to retire in college town because they can go see people talk, and
it makes sense.
You know what I mean? And there's libraries and shit. There's always, and when I read that, I'm like, it is funnier as you get older. You're like, hey, I want to learn some stuff before I die. You know what I mean? I fucking didn't pay attention to anything.
Do everything backwards.
Yeah.
We value education the older we get.
Yes, we love, and it does, like when we're younger, it's like, what can I do with this education? But as we get older, we're just like, hey, I'm curious. And I think it would be interesting to learn about this.
Right. That you don't seek out education for financial gains. You seek it out for like the enjoyment of knowing and learning.
Yeah, it's just the enrichment of being a being on the earth. By the way, look, Vito hasn't moved at all, so neither side of that has occurred to him. He's $125,000 in debt because he went to a school that let him make a movie, which was Bigfoot in Central Park. Vito, have you ever been to one college town in your life?
I would consider Cortland a college town because there's 3 colleges nearby. There's Cortland, Ithaca, and Cornell. They have like all the bars and everything that are like targeted towards the college. The Jets like go up there and
That's the only one that you've ever been to, though, in your whole life?
I mean, Boston, they say, is a college town.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's 100%.
A
just a
college
city,
town.
though.
It's a city, but there's a lot of college. There's
but
like
it's a
5
city,
major
yeah.
colleges.
But then isn't New York a college town by that?
No, I wouldn't say.
No,
You have
because
NYU, Columbia, Hunter.
Yeah, we have them.
Jesus.
Right, but that's not the point. The colleges don't run the. I'll give you one. If you go to Boulder, Colorado, there's a lot of things there, but the college is the driving force of that town.
That, to me, like my experience going there, that would be like my favorite experience of experiencing a college town, because I was really young when I went there, and it just seemed like there were classes and things to do and outdoor things, and everybody
People
was
playing hacky sack and getting high.
I'm like, I had never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was like suddenly just like quad life, but an entire town.
Right.
And I was like totally fat. Record stores and, things that were for young people. And I
It's
was
a place you could have dreadlocks.
fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think that to be a real college town, you have to have some beauty too.
Yeah.
No,
and it's stunning there.
it's unbelievable.
I also had an experience there when I went there. Was like, thought it was so cool, like all the college kids hanging out, and then everyone is so hippy dippy there. And so when we were visiting, I had my mom take me to a store so I could buy like some tie-dye clothes. I was basically like Lisa Simpson in that episode where and I remember being like thinking like, they probably think I'm like from here. Like I remember being young enough that I thought like I was passing as a very short college student or something.
Now, Joe Mackey grew up in a place called State College, which is Penn State, but the name of the city is State College.
Yeah, they're not even making any bones about it. They're like, this town is the college.
Yes, let's not fuck around. Because, the old idea of a college was to get people away from the city. You wanted to take them away from their parents and their influences and educate them and then bring them back as a refined person. Where now you're just the opposite. You're like, we're going to try to extend your childhood as long as we possibly can.
Right, true.
Indiana had that great movie that would been like Joe Mackey's life, where the locals and the college kids about the same age had this weird relationship with each other, where they called them cutters because their fathers cut the marble that was used for the college.
Oh,
you know what I
weird,
mean?
yeah.
So it was almost like, here's the blue collars.
Yeah.
And here's the rich kids. And there's never been a movie made where like, hey, the rich kids are pretty cool and they're nice and they're looking out for people. They owe it for as money obsessed as we are in this country.
Yeah, we value it so much, but then we always paint rich people as the villains in our
particularly
movies.
The children.
Mm-hmm.
The children of the rich are considered awful people in any fucking movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Any movie.
And you never, like, when you're a kid, you never want to be called rich. Like, I remember being a kid and
you never had any problem with that.
But I remember one time a kid called me rich, and I was like, I'm not fucking rich. Don't call me rich.
You don't want to be different at anything when you're a child.
You also, if people are well off, you don't want to be called poor either. Like, that's also a problem kids
It
have.
might shock a lot of people, but no, you don't want to be known as the poor kid in school.
Yes, they're just like, whatever you have, that's what my family has too. That's all you really want to say. Not too much, not too little. Right in the sweet spot, like you.
Like my mom would say, you had the same as anyone else. That's what she would yell at me.
I know.
You had exactly the same as anyone else.
I love that because it's not better. It's just you have the same.
Right.
You didn't stick out in a weird way.
At all. You had average things.
I know. She's very obsessed with that because I remember as a kid, like always being asked, like, do the kids wear that? Or like, it was more like not if I
She
was
would
doing
ask all
something
the time.
unique.
Yeah.
She was just like, you don't look weird when you go out, do you?
Yeah, she just wanted to know that you were with the latest style, the latest trend.
Right.
And but no, the whole idea of being punk rock did not appeal
Right.
to her.
Like, no, not everyone in my school dresses like this.
No, there was a girl in my school that was pretty rich, and we used to go, she's a rich girl, and she's gone too far, because no, it don't matter anyway. But anyway, the real point is this. Take dead aim on the rich kids.
Take them down.
We should just do a movie about very nice rich people,
Yeah.
and then the locals are just terrible.
I'm just like cruel to them. And,
Yes. And they have no manners, and they're animals, and they're constantly being busted for PCP and bath salts. Because that's literally more what the world is like. But we see a nobility being poor, and yet nobody wants to. Everybody's goal in America is to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we'd never show that as a happy thing.
No. I guess that's like really that like obsession with like suburban life was like to have the average. You know what I mean? Like to be like normalcy.
Yeah, but we've moved beyond that where, you know, in our real lives now, people want to be ballers. I mean, people want to show up on Instagram with stacks of money.
That cash.
It's something that actual rich people never do.
Yeah.
And then talking to their money. Like
You will never see the Rockefellers going, check his out. 5 generations and we're stacking it up. It doesn't make sense. They play it down.
That's something like I was reading that's interesting about like the evolution of rap music. That when rap music first started, they were rapping about their struggle.
Social issues.
Social issues. And then once like everybody in rap got to like a new level, then everybody started rapping about how much money they had and their cars and all this stuff.
See, I think it went a little different. I think the initial stuff was social issues, very tied in with what people were going through in the early 80s. And then once gangster rap hit, it was like, how much of a badass, I'm living a crime life.
Right.
And then after that, it was just an American Express receipt. Yeah. Like, I'm just purchasing things.
Yes.
And I'm brand conscious. And yes. It's
weird because it's literally the opposite of being street. Like, they're like, this is where I'm at now, instead of being like, this is about where I come from.
I only listen to one rapper now, and that's Paperboy. And he's got to get that paper, boy. It's the funniest thing ever.
Now, do you know where bootleg FUBU comes from?
Jen, did you feel like you had the right amount, less than right amount, or were you above it all?
I was about the right amount.
Because Jen can spend money.
Yeah.
Jen will spend
She's fancy.
money.
I do, but the thing is, I spend my parents' money, so that's where it comes. You know, there's conflict.
Yes, there should be, because you're an adult now.
Yeah.
But you like the finer things.
I do. Yeah.
I have zero appreciation for the finer things.
You have like your own things that you find fine.
Thank you very much.
Like, some people might say the finer things would involve art, but you don't. You know, you have appreciation for art, but you don't have an appreciation for like the flashiness of spending money.
Yeah, I just don't. I've never, even as a kid, I never cared. And here's a weird thing. Neither of my kids was ever, I needed. I never had what I would call a Jen as a child. Neither of my kids, I'd be like, what do you want? I don't know.
Yeah. I go like, my mom always said that it was the biggest struggle because like she would say like, all right, let's make a Christmas list. And I was like, I feel like I just had a birthday. And it was in October.
Yeah.
And she's like, what kid acts like, I don't know, whatever you want to give me is fine.
And your brother the same way. Like you could have just left coal and they'd be like, okay, so we got coal this year. What are we eating? They just need, and by the way, it wasn't because I lectured or gave it, just not in their DNA to want stuff.
It was not a value thing.
But you have no idea what your kid's going to be like.
Yeah. She could be a little Jen.
Mm.
She's
That would be
like,
great
I'm looking
for
like
me.
Blake.
And seriously, I'll be pop-up money. I would love that.
Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah, spoil that kid. I got nothing else to spend it on.
But yeah, that is kind of interesting because why does that happen? Because I didn't value that. And to this day, even now, like when I spend money, I've never been like, I buy things or gadgets. It's not really.
It's experiences.
Yeah, it's more often like I like spending money on like going out to eat or going, doing
Well,
something
yeah,
together.
That's what Chris, he goes all through his settlement on travel and alcohol and drugs.
Right.
But you don't see him sitting around with Gucci handbag, blue diamond.
That's true.
No Rolex
I
watches.
saw you and him talking in the rain. That's what your guy was doing, right? That song?
Yeah, the Orange
Juice Jones.
Jones. I saw it after the sketch, and it was fucking so funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And that what you were just talking about, that was like the first guy who ever bragged about stuff, I think, in a rap song. And why would they think of doing a parody of that? That had to be
peculiar.
like, what, 86, 88? Something ridiculous?
And it was just weird seeing the stuff he decided to like stick to.
I know, it was so strange. And believe me when I tell you, I was howling. Man, did you guys see the Justin Timberlake thing without the music playing? It's a video.
No, I didn't see
And
it.
it just looks like complete madness.
Oh my God.
The other day, we also, for some reason, we turned down the TV. And there was Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible was on. And when the sound off, you just see what an overactor Tom Cruise is about everything.
Oh yeah.
He's just like,
Like even just like remember like picking up and carrying something.
Yeah.
It's just like, and like it wasn't even that heavy.
All right, this is you got to go back to the beginning, Chris, for it to make sense. This is Justin Timberlake. And you'll still have sound, but go ahead. This isn't it. That's stupid. You got the wrong one. There's one that's just basically playing the regular stuff. Now people are already adding
Right.
stuff to it. You gotta hate the internet for how quickly they
I
get
know.
bored and move on to the next thing.
Like it's always an annoying thing when you want to look up something like, oh, this funny thing that happened, and then you have to find the original video, and then you're putting like original
Right.
sound.
You ever try this? You go to find a song and it's a fucking cover band doing it?
Yeah.
That I feel like they should be sued for.
I agree.
Or you watch a video and it's just a fucking blogger talking about the video you want to see.
Yeah. And that person expects to be paid for that. This
Hey guys, what's
suck.
up? So there's a brand new video out. I thought you guys would really enjoy it.
And I was like this. Anyone see the bitch the other day? And he just starts to complain right away. I'm like, I haven't even seen the original video, and you're furious. Now, when we got off of our thing about college towns.
Yes.
But I will tell you, I never forget the University of Georgia. There's just something about Athens.
Yeah, Athens.
And it's been a million years since I've been there. And there's just something about that town.
Yeah, and again, they kind of set it up for a perfect environment for college students.
Right.
Like, of course, we talked about the music scene before in Athens, but it's just like when the whole town seems to culturally embrace it.
Yeah, the whole town loves the football team too, which
Yeah.
is always hysterical that a town will shut down
Yeah.
for this. And they have that dumb dog that they've act like is the same dog, and there's been a million of them. Because I don't think for whatever reason those bulldogs live long. Something very sad.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't. It's like they're bred in a way that.
They're complete. The reason they look so like much like bulldogs is because they're just completely inbred. So to keep them looking like adorable bulldogs, they have to keep fucking up the genealogy by inbreeding them.
Don't they have like a weak lower back or
Yeah,
something?
they
It's
have a
really
weak lower
sad.
back. Their
Breathing
jowls, are all fucked up. It's a terrible thing.
Yet I love it.
It's adorable.
And like the French bulldog, they've been so specifically bred and their body type is so cute. I mean, like nothing's cuter. They're so sweet. but they can't even give birth. They have to only be birthed by C-section.
Oh, that's so nice. They're little tiny vaginas.
It's like so
little
little.
tiny dog vaginas.
Yeah.
Oh, just so small.
So small they can't even pass a child.
No, you probably couldn't even put your finger in there. As much as you try. Now, Florida has two. Gainesville and Tallahassee couldn't be much different from each other either.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
Gainesville is the kind of broier one.
Well, I would say they're both fairly broy. There's nothing fucking cool going on at either place.
Right.
But it seems like it's a cleaner, more difficult school to get into. Where Tallahassee's is wide open.
Yeah.
It's like the Wild Wild West, baby.
And then Arizona's a huge college town now.
Well, Arizona's a state.
That's a
But I
state.
mean, like, where's Arizona State University?
Yeah, that would be your job to find out. If you're going to jump in and be the guy that's adding the stuff.
Well, I know that's like the fucking main party school to go to.
Not really, because it says it in one of your fucking bro magazines.
That was just everybody talked about. And when I was
Bro
in high school, everybody was like, you heard Arizona State lets in 78% of people, and it's a giant party school.
Is that like a racism thing that you're doing, though?
What?
78% of people.
No, like they just 78% of applicants.
Gotcha. None of the minorities.
No, the minorities too.
Jen, did you take that way? Because I did. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Italians are minorities.
Yeah.
Even though that you think that Arizona's a city. What's your fucking dream school? Pompeii? Is that where you would go if you had the chance? What's your favorite? Where do your people come from in Italy?
Half Nobledon and half Sicily. I know. I've answered this question so many times, and right now I'm just fucking blanking out.
Chris, this is why you get frustrated with him. That
very much
that
so.
He fucked it up and then started to scream.
Yes.
Like
He learned that from you.
No.
He learned it from watching you, Chris.
I have no temper.
Where'd you get it? You gave it to us. White punks on dope.
White punks on dope.
White punks on dope. Teenage. Again, rich kids that are
Yeah.
portrayed as fucking young animals. You know? The poor kids coming out from Nobledon and half from Sicily. I answer this all the fucking time.
Now, why did you say like? Don't you say if you're gonna say Nobledon, like that's like you're from
That's
Naples?
just what I've been told. I'm just,
Yeah, but I'm saying like then wouldn't you have to be like I'm Sicilian as
Yeah.
well? Like
Yeah, you have to stick with it.
Yeah.
That's what they've said. That's just what I know
Who's
from
that?
my mom.
no, but I'm saying like
Stop throwing
you're
Leslie
using
under the
bus. Yeah.
the tenses incorrectly.
I want Leslie to be able to
I
go
don't
to
know if it's
Skankfest
tenses.
this year.
She really wants to go to Skankfest. She really wants to see Unmasked. And because of the Thanksgiving show, she fucking loves the comedy jam.
Oh, good for her.
Hmm.
Good for her.
She's gonna love Skankfest.
I think she's going to fit right in. Maybe even get one of those tattoos.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that your mom starts dating Aaron Berg.
I think she has a crush on Jeremiah Watkins.
Everybody does. People
Really?
like
Yeah.
Jeremiah, and because he moves like he can fuck. He's got that
Ask
thing.
her if that's why she likes
She calls him Axl Rose, which is weird because I know she's had a crush on Axl Rose for years.
Really?
That's her favorite band.
Oh, that's
All
cute.
time GNR?
All-time GNR. Also, U2.
Okay. So not just.
No,
She
but
likes
mainly
everyone.
GNR.
She likes everyone from the 80s.
No,
It's okay.
See,
Guns N'
here's the
Roses.
thing.
Fine.
Before you derailed yourself, you had your fucking thing.
She just spent all of her money on her birthday to go see GNR.
And you too.
Yeah.
No, she's never seen them.
And
That's
then
like
Slash, Edge doesn't matter to her.
it does matter.
Doesn't seem like
You don't have two bands you like?
Mm-mm. It's fish and nothing else.
It is true. It is
You
true.
gotta hand it
Vito.
for
We
this
got
guy.
you.
He's true. He likes one band that he saw a couple
Do you
times.
see everybody? The Irish people are mad at you too because they tweeted something in favor of the pro-choice thing, and
Real.
it's a Catholic. It's a very Catholic little island.
Yeah,
And
they're
like,
still working on that.
and they're like, "We're done with you two after these past 35 years. Fuck them. Fuck those little cunts.
Hate the band, you too.
You two. More like you screw. More like F you." They get mad. Oh, God.
Yeah,
people
they
get
do.
mad. And no one should ever have a political view. because everybody else would be mad by it. Like I'm a communist, and I want to take the children away from their parents and have them put in communist schools where they learn communism. And I want to take the guns away from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And
Even the police.
yes, take the guns away from the police and replace that with gay penises. So every time like a cop sees someone, instead of blowing a whistle, he blows a cock, and the guy just goes like this. Stop! See! And and you have to keep blowing on that cock.
I think this is going to be highly controversial.
I don't think so. I think if I'm right about this, we're going to bring back Obama and Hillary. She's a lesbian. He's from Kenya, and implement some of these things. But I think that kids should salute the flag in the morning while it's burning. We just light, and we like, there's a shitty country will destroy. You know what I mean? I don't think that's too controversial. I don't. I think it's going to catch on. Also, I want to dig a giant hole and throw all the Bibles into it. So
You put that in the Bible hole.
yeah. Also, I want to teach chimpanzees, monkeys, apes basic language and give them the guns. And maybe one day we'll have a planet of apes. I'm working on another idea called Planet of Grapes. And same thing, except for grapes are taking over.
Now are the apes in the position that the humans were in Planet of the
Wouldn't that be
Apes?
great? It would be great for everybody. Then I'm doing Planet of the Drapes. And it's kind of dull. But I think we could make it as a communist country. I really do.
You think so?
Yeah. We do away with religion, and we do away with our defense against the government.
Mm-hmm. It seems like not much that we would have to disagree on.
No, we'll be taxed at 95%.
But do we get stuff?
No, nothing at all. You have to stand in line for bread. And it will always snow in the United States now. And we will still have our flag, don't worry. But it'll be a Viet Cong flag, where we will be saluting the Viet Cong. I wanted to work on a kind of a horror monster movie called King Viet Cong. And it would just be like a giant guy comes back from Vietnam. And he's just so large. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work. I do my best. Every year I try to put out another movie. I'm like Woody Allen that way. Every year I come out with a new movie and just hope people catch on. Did you watch the last movie? The last $1 billion movie? The
Avengers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went.
Did you love it?
I liked it better than the other two Avengers movies, but like there's fucking 45 characters, so there's not much like it's just here's somebody for 1 minute, here's somebody else for 1 minute.
But then Groot died.
They all like spoiler alert. They all fucking die, but they're not really dead. They just blow away in the dust, and you're like, oh, they're obviously coming back.
All they are is dust in the film.
Exactly, you get it.
But Groot is dead.
Aww.
And they said what
Didn't
his...
Groot die before
yes.
too?
He like turned into a little twig.
Yeah.
And then the director...
I've never seen a Groot
Here's
movie.
what happened. Oh, God, they're so good. So all he says is, I am Groot, right?
Yeah.
And they said, what did it mean when he said, I am Groot, when he was dying? And the director, James Gunn, said, Dad. And the internet went fucking crazy, crying.
What does that mean?
He was pretending the raccoon was his dad because he's not the same Groot. He's son of Groot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
baby
the next
Groot.
one would be, you can just take a twig and grow Groot, but he won't be the same Groot.
No, this was
Like a different Groot soul. Like we're not regenerating a soul.
Exactly
We're
right.
regenerating the flesh of Groot.
Monster.
Well, just think of the twig as the seed from the father,
Yeah.
which is planted into Earth, the mother. and that makes the earth the vagina of roots. And that's why I'd say your mom has a dirty hole. And be absolutely right in this case. You couldn't get mad at me for saying your mom has a dirty hole.
Your mom is the earth. Chill out, dude. That's what I mean by it.
Wait, what? Yeah. Okay. Why don't you go back in your mom's dirty hole, Groot? These movies are so good, though. Can't wait to see Solo. But this is the problem. I went to get 2 tickets. No. You can only buy Solo tickets.
It's so lonely.
Solo lonely. But I don't want to spoil it. I saw Solo. He dies in it.
What?
Yeah. So he never.
He died in the future.
Yeah. No. His last words are, "I'll never be Harrison Ford."
I'm very nervous about Solo.
Oh God, you should be.
Why would you be nervous?
I'm nervous that this is coming at the worst time for Donald Glover.
What do you mean the worst time for Donald
His
Glover?
movie's gonna fucking suck. He doesn't look very good in it. Nobody looks good in this
You
movie.
just went from yesterday. You were in a Donald Glover fucking high.
Because this movie, I don't want this bad movie to come out.
Why can't you
can't
believe in him? He's got fucking talent.
Here's the thing.
He's amazing, but the director changed, and that's always an issue. And the commercials, it just looks like people doing fucking just looks like they're wearing costumes and doing impressions.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Glover's in Star Wars. He's playing Star Wars. His name of his character is Star Wars. No, who's he playing?
Lando Calrissian.
That's a little
Typecasting.
pretentious.
Typecasting.
It is typecasting. That should have been a white person in that role. Should have been Groot.
Groot would be perfect.
Now, what happens in Solo? Do you know?
It's just like how Han Solo gets the Millennium Falcon, how he meets Lando Calrissian. Woody Harrelson is Han Solo's mentor.
Guess he dies.
That's safe to assume.
Yeah.
And then they say that if this works out, there'll be a Lando Calrissian spinoff.
Trust me, this is going to work out.
There's no chance it doesn't make a ton of money. Like I'm just nervous about more the performances.
You gotta trust him. You know what I mean? He's done well
he
by
your
you so
hero?
far.
Yeah, I mean, like just looking at a similar age, like the track he had, like going to NYU, being in film, and just like what he's been able to do, like it's really impressive.
There goes my hero. It's Donald Glover. And just think, you guys are about the same age,
Yeah,
and then you slept out on a fucking lawn chair
yeah.
while he was the star of the show.
So we're in similar places right
You're
now.
going to end up killing him one day.
Oh, this isn't a Selena situation.
It's funny that you would know that since you weren't even born
I
yet.
know.
I know pop culture.
Do you?
Yeah. Shit.
Mm. Who did Elvis marry?
Priscilla,
Nice. And their daughter?
Lisa Marie.
Oh my God. He's good. Vito is the anti-Chris.
Oh, bullshit.
The Antichrist.
When the Antichrist walks among us, he doesn't take drugs, and he works hard, and he brings Spain to him. Well, I never been to England. You know the song? But I've been to Arizona. All right. All right, what are we going to do, Chris? Going to break here?
We're gonna break here. Yes.
Coming up a little later on the show is what, Christopher?
Louis Anderson unmasked.
Louie! And I open the unmasked like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Louie. Wait, not that one.
Wah, wah.
Bwah, bwah, bwah. I actually did that joke to Soder in front of a theater in Austin. From the bonfire, and everybody was clapping. Hold on, not that one. The other one. He came out. You could tell he was like, because he always wants to push off on the MC. If I could play that game with me, Soder, I'll take you right back to the soda shop immediately. Louis' book, Hey Mom! Hey Mom!
Hey, Mom.
Stories from my mother, but you can read them too. it's perfect last minute gift for your mom for Mother's Day, because it's about him and his mom, who is his muse, because he plays the role of Christine Baskets, the tough but lovable mom on the TV show Basquiat's. So, is that coming up next, or we're breaking and talking a little bit?
That's coming up next after we break.
We'll be back.
This is Bennington on Raw Dog 99, Sirius XM's Comedy Club.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So great to see you. You look fantastic, by the way.
We both lost, maybe 100 together, huh?
You do most of the work, though. Doesn't Louis look great in blue? That's a great look for you.
I'm good at. I tried it on, and I said, "All right." They picked it out. I said to the person, "Pick out something you think would work for me."
Yeah.
And then I tried it on. I went, a little, monkey suit, but but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A little but it worked. It worked all the way around. And these are jeans that they make now for fat people that are stretchy.
Yeah.
And they're in 5 colors. But I wouldn't wear jeans, but they're so stretchy, and they were 4 sizes smaller than the last jeans I bought. So I was thrilled.
That's fantastic.
I just want to say right out, when we first did the first one, I never got more comments than that show. Well, I mean, I got so many comments on social media about how great everyone loved the show.
Well, that was a fantastic show with you. And that was really, as Baskets was, starting, and the Christine Baskets character changed your life.
Yes. I mean, it just was such a I don't even know how to explain it. It's still like a surreal kind of situation, because I'm not Christine outside of Christine being dressed in that outfit. I can't even find the voice now.
Wow.
That voice isn't there. But when I put all that stuff on, I walk out, leave Louis Anderson in the hair and makeup trailer, and I walk out as her, and something takes over. It's a really weird thing. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, this is the muse right here, the new book, Hey Mom, because a lot of your mom is...
It's my mom, yeah. It really is. I'll always say to Jonathan Kreisel, our director, can I try it like my mom? And he'll go, yeah. That's all it is with him. It's just go give it a shot. It's real low key, and I go, okay, do you really want me to? Am I being a jerk?
Yeah.
And then I try it as my mom, and they like it, and it's a better take because I know my mom so well.
You know her, and you know her point of view, and you know what was funny about that.
She was funny, but I'm not sure she was trying to be funny. But I think she was probably smarter than me, and she was trying to be funny. And I was kind of dense. You know how you're dense when you're a kid, what? And so that was really good. It was really all the way around. It's been just such a good thing. And then one day I came home and I just wrote this long, long letter to her and gave it to my manager and my producing partner. And they both commented to me in a way this is really good. This is really heartfelt. This is really, maybe you should do a book, because, that's how they make money.
Right, yeah. Not that old.
The letter does, you get a book. And then I wrote the book with Andrew Postman, who is a great writer here in New York, and he helped me with it, because I'm a really good writer, but very disorganized. I don't, for crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of creativity.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing, putting things together. But this was a journey of love, and a love letter to my mom. Really, this was all about, hey, Mom, because I always say that in my life. I always have, hey, Mom, how's it going up there? did Dad ever make it to heaven, or was he kicked out? Because that's the kind of stuff, I just ask it, and my brother who passed on, I wanted to know if he was there, and those kinds of things. I want to believe, there's a much bigger upside to believing in the great beyond than the other thing.
Yeah.
Because if there's nothing, if there's nothing, then at least while I was here, I thought there was something. And I just feel it. There are too many things. I recently, in your favorites on your phone, I had my brother who passed away, and I butt dialed it, and I got a call back. And I freaked out a little. And then I realized they reassigned the number. And he goes, "Who is this?" I go, "Tommy?" I didn't say it, but I'm tempted to call that number back to see if the person's name is Tommy or starts with a T.
Yeah.
Because that's all I need to believe, or either one of those things. But I love that I always look at that stuff. Oh, that's like him saying hi to me and giving me a chance to remember. I think, I live in nostalgia a lot, and I live in, we were a sentimental family. So when, that sentimental thing in the Midwest is big because we're in the house for 9 months.
Right. Yeah.
What do you
Home's
think?
important.
Remember when we had sun come out? Remember when we had the sun come out, shower us? We almost felt alive again.
Well, that's another thing too. I mean, you're a very sensitive guy. Like a lot of funny people are very sensitive. But you had just lost Tommy before we had done the last interview, and I had the sense that you were just holding it together.
I was.
But at the same time, to go out and do, to go out and promote and do that work, that's a strength.
It is a strength. You have to get, what are you going to do? Sit home and, cry, which is fine. I can cry. I think you should cry every day. I talk about it in the book.
Yeah.
I think you need to cry every day because there's tons of things worth crying about, and I don't mean they have to be sad tears, but I think you have to be brought to emotions every day and otherwise you're not going to. Otherwise, I'm going to eat more. That's what I look at.
Yeah,
you should. You should be able to do all your emotions because otherwise, I think bottling up that stuff is where things go bad.
Yeah, but you also kind of bring up in the book that when you have that kind of loss, you bring up that the whole experience of life is just loss after loss.
I had lots of loss in my life.
Yeah.
Lost my dad, lost my mom, lost my older brother, lost my older sister, lost my second older sister, lost my second older brother, lost my third older brother, or fourth older brother, lost my baby brother, lost my other sister. I lost 7 siblings, along with my mom and dad, and so I think that loss is always, is part of the thing I live with, but I don't live in a morbid situation with it. I accept it. I understand it. I always wish I could have done more. And I think it's a common feeling with us as humans. Why wasn't I nicer to my mom? Why didn't I try to help my sister more? And why didn't I try to do this? Why didn't I, but usually I try not to look at with regret because regret is weighs tons. Mm-hmm. You carry regret along with you. It's so much work when you just have to kind of let go of things. You do. If you can't let go of it, then you should, I've done a lot of therapy in my life. I credit the therapy and good friends like my friend Abraham and my friend Amos and, my friend Jim and all these people who've given me a lot of their life experiences and helped me through stuff. And you need people. Yeah. You need a lot of people to, have a touchstone with when you have a lot of loss, I think.
But you connect with people wherever you go. Something about your personality. There's a thing in the book.
I like human beings.
Yeah. Well, when you lost your brother, you get on a plane and a woman is next to you and you just have this, and you just say out of nowhere, I wish I had a sign.
Yeah,
I came.
That's the craziest thing that happened. I don't know if I talked about it on the last show, but I was on a plane. My brother was about to be cremated, and my nephew was with him. And I had to hang up, and I said, well, okay, my nephew said, I'll stay with him. And so that was great. Even though it's a body, I still feel, I just felt like somebody should be with him. And he stayed with him, and I just turned to that person. I don't know. I go, do you believe in they said no. I think they said no. I go, I just wish I had a sign.
Yeah.
And the plane backed out, and the brightest light sunset or sunrise, sunset, I think, blasted into the whole cockpit there and lit it up. And I had a smile on my face, and they had a look of, oh.
Yeah.
And I wanted to believe that that was my sign.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, too many things happen where I feel connected to things. So I think we're all just living in a little ways from the connection that if we opened our hearts enough that we could reach it.
It feels close, right?
It feels close. Like sometimes you ever bump into that connection?
Yeah.
Where you just go, what was that? And there's nothing there, but you bumped into something.
Yeah.
So I feel that kind of stuff. And, but I had another. Go ahead.
The thing with your mom, right? With the night that your mom
when my
passed away.
Yeah, the phone was ringing. I'm laying in bed. Phone's ringing. I'm turned away from where the nightstand in the hotel where the phone's ringing, just ringing and ringing, and you're going, stop ringing, and you just don't want to turn out. You don't want to answer the phone. You're in some sort of deep sleep or whatever it is, and then I turned over to answer the phone, and right in front of the door to the hallway was a giant, almost like Ghostbusters, but the thing at the car places that goes up and that, but with colors I can't describe to you except I could see them. Yeah. And it was and there was a giant beautifulness about it and a beautiful comfort. A smile. There wasn't a face, but there wasn't not a face. There was something that I was trying to recognize, and the phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing. I finally picked it up, and my brother Jim said, Mom died, and that thing went under the door. All those things went just like being sucked out under the door. And I said to my brother, hold on a second. And I got up and I looked out in the hallway, because I wanted to see if that was out there, whatever it was. Yeah. And it wasn't. And I just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it was. I felt like it maybe my mom saying goodbye.
Yeah. That without, you do these things without judgment. It's like, this is just it. This something happened.
Yeah, this is just something that happened that either I manifested, right, which is possible, or I wanted to happen, or I was connected. We were really close, my mom and I, in so many ways. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I remember my dad died. It was 3 a.m. I'm playing 500 bid with my brother Jim and his wife, and we were, and somebody else was there. I forget, maybe my sister-in-law's sister. And we're playing 500 bid. It's 3 a.m. And the phone rings, and I go, oh, Dad's dead. And I don't know. I know my dad was sick, but he was sick for years, Yeah. And so those were weird situations. So I don't know. This book is not all about those things. This book is a funny book too.
Right, sure.
I want people to realize it's a lot of really good humor in it about stuff my mom did and about stuff our family did. And so I think, the nice thing is it would make we wanted to get it out on Mother's Day because, well, for my mom, for one thing, she would have loved that. And I think it's an opening conversation after your mom or after you read the book to your parents. Because one thing I realized is I didn't quite become great friends with my mom. And I don't know why I didn't. She was a great person. But, you grow up with a child adult, your child parent, and then you get to that point where it's you have an opening, you have to take it, where you go, Mom, what did you see in Dad? Why would you marry this nut? I mean, quite honestly, why would you? This guy's a bad guy. He was mean to us. Why would you stick with him so long? Another thing, I have 12 questions you should ask your parents. One of them is, besides me, what's the best thing you ever did, you know? Because moms will always say you. If you say, you were. Okay. Besides me. And then just, I think that, like sometimes I'll talk to people and they say, I haven't talked to my parents in 5 years. And I'll go, let's give them a call.
Right.
I've done that more than once in my shows, even with brothers and sisters. I'll go, hey, Cindy says she hasn't talked to you in 7 years.
Yeah.
And the person will go, that's right. And I go, why? She goes, I'm not really sure why, but we just haven't. And I go, well, here she is. Say hi. You guys should get together. You're invited to my show anytime you want to come. And then I don't know whatever happens, but I can't help myself.
Yeah,
I'm a Midwesterner. I want to get in people's business.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a hell of a job with
people,
it.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Who are in, you're having a conversation with someone, they go, well, what I think is,
Look at that.
who the hell are you?
Yeah. But I also think it's that the thing that even works in your comedy is that you have this great observation, but you can also you put yourself in other people's position. You do it when you talk about your dad. You're suddenly your dad. You talk about your mom. You're suddenly your mom. It's
really like I really go there.
Yes, you do.
Like my dad was really funny. He just we didn't even know he could talk for a long time. And he would say, and he would do the weirdest things. He'd go, look at that guy. And I'd look at me, go, don't look at him. Just look at him.
Yeah.
And then my mom, I thought I got a lot of humor from my dad, which I did, I guess. But I didn't realize I got equal amount from my mom.
Sure.
Like I said, I think she knew how funny she was. And I still, quote all those lines. She loved the 88-cent store. We had an 88-cent store long before the 99-cent store. It was and she'd go, should we run over to the 88-cent store? I go, I guess. And she would go over there, and her whole time there, she would go, what do you think of this, Louis? For 88 cents, huh? I don't think about it.
Yeah.
You know how when you're a teenager, I don't think about it. Well, I'm going to get it because Janet will love it. Okay, Ma.
And that's Christine Baskets, right? I mean, that's
true.
The
there she
straight
is. My mom could find beauty in anything.
Right.
That's the scene in Baskets where I get the Desante water, which I renamed as the character. Did it. I just didn't even mean to do it. In the thing, I go, Desante. And then I go, what a beautiful bottle. I'd put this in a window. It's so pretty. And that's... Those words are right out of my mom. Those are, if you ever see one of those Martha, she's talking about a thing that makes curly fries. Well, if you ever see one, get one for me.
Get one.
That's how my mom was.
Yeah. And there's such a sweetness to that character, but not all sweet.
No.
She can
be very,
very, very cruel in her own way.
Yes. She's only when she has to be protective or somebody's being mean to her, which is really, my mom would do it, but she could smile right through it. Like when the one woman says Chip said something about Chip not doing well.
Yeah.
And Christine goes, well, how's your daughter? I saw her down at, I think it was, I don't know what store I said. She looked like she was methed out of her mind. And then I take a big bite of a cake pop. and I don't like being mistreated. I mean, Christine's a complicated character. She wants to be liked. She wants to be loved. And she wants to be a part of things, and these women have excluded her. And she's heartbroken more than she's mad. She's heartbroken because she just wants to be liked and loved. And I feel like this last season, Christine got a chance to really be liked and loved. And make an opportunity. She wasn't successful at running a rodeo, but she realized it, and I don't know, I just love what the writers did this year for the character.
But do you enjoy stepping into that kind of power too? It's a different kind of strength than you might have yourself.
Yeah, I like playing this character because she's a bull in a china shop, but she doesn't know she's knocked anything over.
Right. Yeah.
But she's knocked everything over. What is that? Did that happen? What? She would never blame herself. Well, I don't know what happened. She's a lovely character to play and a privilege, and an homage to my mom. When I won the Emmy, I go, we did it,
We
Mom.
did. It was a great moment. And people all over was just so happy for you.
Yeah, I've
You know
really
what I mean?
been loved unconditionally
Yeah.
and maybe even unwarranted to have all that love. You've never woken up in the same, house as I have. You don't know what a grump I can be.
Right.
Because I'm just like my dad if things aren't going my way. That's, I think, why I do prayers and meditation when I get up. So I can get all that subconscious that we have playing out of my big head.
Right.
And I'm a better person after I do it. I mean, I don't do anything before I do those two things.
Well, everyone.
I might pee.
Yeah. but that is the whole point of like a transformation. You have to work. I mean, if you were born okay and a holy person, so what?
So
you know what I
what?
mean?
Yeah.
So what? But it's the person who just keeps working, and I think that's always been you, no matter what you're dealing with.
Well, if this character, given me a chance to transplant the humanity and the character and the love my mom had and the maternal thing right over to this character, but it's so weird because I don't get. It happens during the process when I'm getting dressed and they're putting the makeup on, they put the wig on. It's extensive, and when I get on the set, I ask people to call me Christine and not Louis because I want Louis to disappear from it.
And has you ever been to a point where you couldn't get to that character? Or it always comes in.
When I can't get to it, Jonathan sticks with me until I get there.
Yeah.
And Zach's so good to work with.
Right.
My goal and Zach's goal is to crack each other up, to ruin the scene.
Yeah.
That's really our goal.
Yeah.
We're both going.
No.
I just can't wait to try and get him to. And he starts laughing. Then if I start laughing, and then we had the last scene of the year where the guy Ernie, Ernie, who plays what's his real name? No, not Ernie. I can't. Eddie. Yeah. Eddie and Ernie. One of his names is real. So, anyways. He said the funniest thing somehow that hit us funny. And so we tried to do the scene. And I'm telling you, finally, and Jonathan never gets mad. He goes, oh, come on.
Yeah.
He just really was exasperated. But we could not stop laughing. And that was a joyful. Jack is a really great, and Martha's really great, too.
Yeah, everybody's great. And I also think it's amazing of Zach to be so sharing with this and also smart, He said at Sketchfest, it's humbling to not be the most popular character in the show, right?
Or something like that. And I thought, oh, jeez.
Well,
he's sharing his show with me.
It's very smart, though. It always reminds me of Andy Griffith when he found out the Barney Fife character was taken off. I mean, Andy Griffith was like a giant comic star, and he was just like, "Great, man! Let's see what we can do with it." It's very smart in a show.
Yeah, it's been a great ride for me, and I hope it continues.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be my goal: is that we could play out the show to where the family gets to where they're supposed to be going, whether it's Christine has got a new family or Christine hits the road with Martha or Christine drives off a cliff. I think all three of those things could happen. I said to Zach, we should do a poll where people out there tell us what they want to happen to their family. Because to me, that we have such a loyal following for this show. That's kind of how I feel, is like, people fell in love with the family that isn't easy to love. And I just hope it gets to play out. Because in TV, you're here today, but you may not be there tomorrow.
Right. And you have been very also so smart just to embrace it. You know what I mean? To say this is an you get the call out of the blue to do this character.
Yeah.
Nobody even asked you to come in and do anything but show up, and then you find this character, and
it was a fluke.
It's a life changer.
Yeah, I mean, I only had one scene in the pilot.
Is that right?
Yeah, where I drank that Kirkland drink.
Oh yeah.
But I was trying to down it, and I realized you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to spit it out. But I tried to save the take. I think I said, "Oh, that hit the spot," or "That was refreshing." Whatever I said, it saved the thing. If you look at that, Zach's laughing in the cup. He's laughing really, and so that was really, that was really fun. And I knew that the character was special for that moment. I knew it was really good, but I didn't know. It's been a long time since I did a sitcom. I did several pilots of my own early on, but I didn't know what was going to happen. But I would think, well, if Zach Galifianakis is in a show, I doubt they're going to get rid of it. So that's what I'm hoping. We haven't got the word yet on season 4, so I'm hoping that we will. I tell people, write and tell FX how much you like it. Because that stuff matters to networks.
Sure, of course. It's so...
It's like votes. You never know who's going to become president unless you vote.
Yeah. Look what happened. The thing that I think would be the $1 million idea is go out on stage and do an hour as Christine Baskets. I think Broadway would pick you up in a heartbeat doing that.
We've talked about the idea of doing an evening with Christine Baskets, or advice from Christine Baskets. The only way I would do it is if Jonathan would, be a part of it, because he's been the touchstone on the whole thing. Zach is great, but Jonathan is my thing where I say, "Is this cartoony?" Like somebody asked me to be a part of their Woman of the Year award this year as Christine, and I just thought, ooh, that could go really bad. That could be, Right. So I'd really need somebody to be the person I could go to and go, I'm toying with the idea, do I make a transformation from Louis to Christine on the stage and then do something, or do I just come out as a real person, Christine Baskets? So I don't know. There'd have to be a good reason for it. But I mean, I would enjoy doing it. I think because I love the character.
Yeah, so. I don't think you do it at Caroline's. I think you do it as if it was a one man show and figure out to take it very seriously. And I think the thing about it is we all have that person in our life somewhere. That's the thing that you nailed with this, is that that's why it touches us personal.
Who is it in your life?
Well, it reminds me of my mom, my grandmother. It brings back my grandmother for me a lot for the same things of like, did she know that was funny, and did I even think it was funny at the time? How's this stayed around?
Those people, they kind of shape us without us even realizing
without even knowing it.
They were opinionated, or like my grandma, my dad would come in and she'd go,
yeah,
she can't cook, and then he'd go, "Oh, he's still alive, huh?" And I didn't realize that I didn't know I was being a part of that,
right? But
I was observing it. I think that's what comics do in their childhood.
Sure,
they're observing the whole shebang.
Well, what you understand when you get to adulthood is they were all just barely holding it together. You know what I mean? They felt like the Rock.
That's the truth.
Yeah, but
you thought that you felt safe, but you realized they couldn't. Well, I knew it a little more because my dad was an alcoholic, so sometimes he would drink the check.
Right.
That's in those days. People who grew up with an alcoholic know about drinking the check away.
Sure.
Where my dad would spend the whole check and then we'd have to figure out how we're going to get the food and pay the rent and keep the lights on and all that stuff, which was a good lesson, because growing up poor is not the worst thing in the world. It kind of makes you ready for not having any money.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like you don't have to, money doesn't, you don't go, you either say, well, I'm never going to be, poor, or you say, money isn't the most important thing to me in the world.
Yeah. It gives you that thing of like if you grow up rich and then you don't have money, you're a failure. But
Right.
if you grow up poor, you're like, well, this is life. What are you going to do? This is the way you
At
live.
least I got bread.
Yeah, right.
That's what we used to say.
Yeah.
Is there any bread? I make some toast.
Right.
Make sugar and cinnamon toast.
But that's the other interesting thing. There, your folks are living week to week, right?
Yeah.
And having 11 kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, where's the thought process?
I think that things happened, and that wasn't. I mean, I don't know. It's just like I couldn't tell you how that really played out and what it meant. But I think having 11 kids back then was not the most unusual thing.
Right.
And then birth control wasn't really talked about then, and those things where now that would be unheard of.
It would be unheard of, yeah.
And you'd be criticized for it.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing? You can't,
Yeah.
But somehow they made it all happen. And my mom actually had 16 children, 2 sets of twins, and the first baby died.
Wow.
So, that always amazed me. And so I learned so much. I tried to bring as much of them into my life and into my comedy especially.
Sure.
Because they're funny. They were funny. My dad was funny and my mom was funny. And they were tragic. My dad was a mean guy, but I tried to take that and I think comics are alchemists. I think we try to, like my dad, the first joke I ever did about my dad is, well, he never hit us. He carried a gun.
Yeah.
He never shot us. He'd just go.
Yeah.
And that was a way for people to know that what I was saying was very serious, but it was very funny too. And I think that's what comics do. They take underneath all their jokes is some pathos and some sadness.
Your stand-up career, immediately when Mitzi passed away, this Mitzi Shore with the Comedy
God
Store.
rest your soul, Mitzi.
Which was everything for you when you went out to L.A., right?
When I got into L.A., I drove right to the Comedy Store and walked around, looked at all the names up on the wall. On the outside, all the names are the signatures are on the wall. And I go, I'm going to get my name up here. That was one of my goals. And the other one was to do the Tonight Show. And so that's what I had a clear goal. I get that up there. It was important to me. And, when they put my name up, it was really fun. And when I got on the Tonight Show, it was terrific. It was really fun. And so, that she always said to me when I'd come off stage, Louie, you're a sweater comic. You got to wear a sweater. That's who you are. I go, okay, Mitzi. Don't you have a sweater? I go, yeah, I always forget it, though. Because first of all, it's so hot up there with the sweater. But she was so lovely. I could never disappoint her that way. I would go, yes, you're right. I knew what she meant. And then her and I were good buddies, and I'm sorry I didn't go. I meant to see her many times, and I didn't go visit her, and I'm mad at myself about that. But I'm glad she's not suffering, and all the kids are, I know all the kids, and I know the family, and I love all of them. They were like my, show business family.
Sure.
The store was my home. The Improv didn't embrace me like the store did. But, I still, when I go to LA, I stop and do a set at the store. And I'm still a little nervous when I'm in the original room because it's a hard room to control.
Right.
But I just have fun up there. It's still a big part of my life.
Well, again, that's always the thing I think about with your strength is to be a kid driving out to the store, seeing that and saying, this is no different if you're just, you're into sports and you drive up to Yankee Stadium and you just say, I belong here.
Oh, that's a really great analogy.
I belong here.
That's why I'm going to be here. I'm going to have my name on the door. I'm going to get on the Tonight Show. Because that was like American Idol back then.
Yeah, of course.
Even, it was like 3 TV networks and Johnny had like a third of the audience every night.
Right.
It was on that channel. And so the next day, my life changed. I went on the Tonight Show. The next day, I opened at the Comedy Store at the Dunes Hotel. The week after that, I had a holding deal from NBC, and I was opening for the Commodores at Bally's in Las Vegas on the Strip with my name. I have the picture with my name, opening act Louis Anderson. And that all happened in honest to God, one night. That in the next 2 weeks, I haven't looked back, really.
And there's nothing that we can do today. Nobody can do anything today to make that kind of...
No, it doesn't happen. I think you can a little bit with America's Got Talent, but not. You have a longer process.
Right.
But one night... I think some things like that are still. I think that, but there's too many outlets now, so there's nobody's focused on one.
And I remember being a kid watching Carson. It always seemed to be if he liked somebody, I probably liked them. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like, I have the same taste as Johnny does. You know?
It's true though.
Yeah.
My dad used to let me stay up and watch the comics, even though I never planned on being a comic. I did it on a dare one night.
Yeah.
And I had my family in the audience and all my friends. I was just going to do it one time, and when I got up there, I went, "Oh, this something I should. This feels warm. This is fun."
Yeah,
it felt right.
Yeah,
it felt right. It's we're really lucky that we get to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, what job could I get? I'd be a terrible waiter.
Yeah, I can't.
Hey, there's a bite out of my sandwich. You know how far the kitchen is from here? You're lucky there are any fries on that plate, buddy.
And that's what works in comedy. Isn't that odd? The exact opposite of what works in the real world.
It's true, isn't it?
Is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like, what else can we do?
Mm-hmm.
We're not good at... I lost many jobs. I was terrible at them. Or I wouldn't go back after lunch.
Yeah.
And my dad would go, "Oh, you quit another job?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you better get out there looking for another. That's who he was.
Yeah.
He'd circle all the jobs he wanted me to get.
Yeah.
Unloading trucks, digging ditches, building dams.
Right.
Finish the Suez Canal, Louis.
When you went out to the Comedy Store like that, what was your class? Who were the guys that...
Howie, Arsenio, Eddie was there. Robin was stopped by all the time.
Yeah.
Argus Hamilton. Paulie was just starting out.
Yeah.
Doing comedy as a young kid. Lois Bromfield. Sandra Bernhardt.
It's a murderer's row. I mean, it's
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And Gary Shandling.
Yeah.
And Dave Coulier. All these guys. That was a nightly... it would be those lists. I have some of them.
Yeah.
They're amazing, And Sam came on the scene, and Dice and all those people. And that was it. Mitzi liked you or she didn't. She was real clear about it. And I couldn't get on. I couldn't get Mitzi to watch me. Jimmy Walker, who was also one of the people that I worked with, he made Mitzi sit down and watch me and make me a regular. He was single-handed. Because I wrote for him with Letterman and me and...
Leno, I think, even did
Leno.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wrote jokes for Jimmy. And he just kept me on. I was a terrible joke writer. Mm-hmm. I would always write a fat joke for Jimmy.
Hey, now he can use them. That's great. Took 3 decades, but he's ready for those jokes. Yeah. But isn't that just stunning to look back? You know what I mean? Like, even if you did nothing else, the fact that you were there at that time is just...
it was a time that doesn't feel that long ago, but I know it was.
Right.
It doesn't, though.
Yeah.
It feels like, and that must have been a magical, in one sense, time for comedy, because I feel like all the comics that are around, the generation, I get a lot of people coming up to me that are pretty famous comics now going, "I loved your first special. Mm-hmm. I watched you at the store," or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, you don't know who you influence or who really loves your stuff. And I think comedy, that was kind of it was like the Woodstock of comedy.
Yeah, it was just...
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was that group of people who who I think a lot of people started doing comedy because of him.
But so everybody was so driven, and you don't
Yeah.
remind me of any of those. That's the other interesting thing about comedy, is that you can find your own voice and not become Howie Mandel or not
Right.
become Robin Williams.
Right.
Even when you see these guys killing on either side
I
of
never
you.
felt threatened because I was so different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about butter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm talking about my mom. I'm talking about my dad or
Yeah.
my stomach. One of the two or three things. And I was, here's my people. This is my new special big underwear.
Yeah.
These are the people who influenced me. Bob Hope, Johnny Carson, Jonathan Winters, Jackie Vernon, Rodney, Joan Rivers, and Jack Benny. These were all people who had an intricate and a real integral, also a part of my comedy. And you can see it if you look at, if you
Right.
think about those people there.
Yeah.
And Richard Pryor, he taught me to be really wide open with my heart. And that the more wide open I am, the better a comic I become. Because I'm not afraid of anything then.
No, I was thinking that watching your special of just your comfort level. And now I do see the Benny, because you'll just take a moment, on stage, which is hard to do.
I think it's harder nowadays. I'm glad I didn't start out now where people have a phone to go like this with.
Right.
To put that up there, because that's a common thing in the clubs now. I see it. But I don't take it personal, because, I might be doing it myself. So I don't take any of that stuff personal. And I learned a long time ago not to focus on people who weren't laughing, because that can drive me crazy as a comic. Like, why aren't you getting this?
Yeah.
But, comedy's subjective. You always hear this. You either like somebody or you go, ugh, I can't stand that person.
Right.
And that's common, I think, with music and everything. It's all it's all subjective, and I don't take it personal, but I'm really lucky. I feel just blessed at like crazy and humbled by, this is my 40th year of stand-up. So that's crazy to me that I've only been funny for about 20 years, but still.
Right, yeah.
But 40 years to do one thing and to still get paid.
Yeah.
And I did a photo thing, and they gave me this jacket, so I always feel like that's my mom right there.
Yeah, right.
My mom would go, "How do you like the jacket? It's nice." They gave it to me.
Yeah.
And then she would do that,
So when you think back of those comics that you said that you drew inspiration, did you know it when you were young? Or is
No,
that
because I never wanted to be a comic. I just knew I liked Bob Hope was so damn definite. Hey, you hear this? You hear Bob Hope and me.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Hey, everybody. That definitely was my loudness in my act, is Bob Hope. And Jack Benny is...
Right, the quiet. But by the way, until you just did that, I never picked up the hope in you. And the second that you did it, I'm like, that sounds like a hope.
That was Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome to everything is here. He was just to get the attention. I didn't realize how much Bob Hope influenced me,
Yeah.
And then I had a combination. Bob Hope would go, hey, everybody. And then the Jack Benny would go, well, today.
Yeah.
So I never been afraid of the silence. I'm always the guy who's, and in my head, I'm going, just wait. You have to wait till they are going to pay. I want the people to, hey, I'm really working really hard at making a crowd laugh. I work really hard at it. I want them not to be able to breathe if possible. That's really what I want. I want you to have the time of your life, and I want you to, honest to God, for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, even 10 minutes, forget every problem you have. That's my whole goal. Mm-hmm. Because that's an elixir then.
Yeah, that's
then I feel like I've done something really good. Because isn't it good to just forget about your troubles for a minute?
Absolutely, and that's the gift of being funny, is that you can take this fairly rough ride that we all have. You know what I mean?
It's funny in the beginning, where you think, like my second Tonight Show. My first was great. My second one, I thought I died a dog's death because the adrenaline from the first one. You think you're great. The second one, you go, oh, I ate it so hard on that.
Yeah.
It was so terrible. But nobody else thought it was terrible. It's all in your crazy stand-up head.
Yeah, that is fascinating too, right? That to you, these little things are the biggest things in the world, and the other people, like I saw you on the Tonight Show.
Yes.
Do you ever have like a review or something in the paper, and you're like, "This is terrible," and people are like, "Hey, I saw your name in the paper. Congrats!" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not paying that much attention.
Well, we take it. You know, comics take things personal. That's why they get mad when someone's not laughing or smiling in the crowd, and they take it personal. We have we're completely. I think comics are a little. They're paranoid. They're very self-involved, and I think they think that people don't like them if they're not laughing.
Right.
And I think that you have to work really hard not to get. Maybe some comics don't care about that anymore, but I still know lots of comics who go, "Oh, I hated that set," and they're no good until they do another set.
Right.
But I think I've grown past that because I never have a bad set.
Yeah.
I'll tell ya.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, I'm at the cutting room tonight in New York City.
By the way, there's no younger person who could understand just how big Bob Hope was and for how
was
many
the biggest
decades.
of all time. Yeah.
He just for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Was like the biggest thing
He
you could
was.
be.
He was
Yeah.
on TV, movies,
Yeah.
radio, and
And he wore. If you had a war, he would go and play it.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, he got, and when he didn't, I know there's a great documentary on PBS about the whole war thing with Bob, how much he got hurt when people turned against him because he didn't denounce the Vietnam War when everybody was protesting it. He took the wrong side there.
Yeah.
Which eventually, panned out that it was the right side. People wanted to get out of that war. And so that was really interesting that it was so hard for him. And I would say that that's been my best lesson is to not be afraid, and it certainly happened with changing with the times, with, when Zach called to say, yes, I'll do it. Even though inside any stuff I had, apprehension, I squelched it right away. And I just said, when I got the job, you're not gonna complain when you do this show, because I'm a complainer, and you're not going to say no to anything they ask you to do. And that really paid dividends. So
Yeah,
that
because
really
it was a bold move. Oh, I want you to play a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have really blown up.
I
in your
remember I
face.
went to Jonathan right before we shot the pilot, and I said, hey, I'm going to use my real voice. I'm not going to change the voice. I'm not going to cartoon up the voice. He said, okay. So I just tried to get my mom's voice she had a voice similar to mine, but a little higher pitch. But I try to bring the joy. That's what you hear in that voice, is the joy of my mother or the disappointment she has in you. Because moms are the best at just that look across the room.
But I think it's so fascinating that Louis C.K. and Zach just knew that you could do this. Like, they just thought...
Yeah, that was a big compliment, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, these two really brilliant comics go, oh, yeah, Louis Anderson can do this.
Yeah, they had a lot of faith in it. And everybody has left me... No, Jonathan gave me no direction. He only said he would only go like this. And that, because I was being too big,
right? He
would go like this. And then sometimes he'd go even more, he'd go like this. And he'd go. But it was all, and I go, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I like being loud.
Yeah.
I come from a loud family.
But have you ever gone back and watched any of it and been like surprised by?
I'm surprised because I can't always connect to the character. Mm-hmm. I can't always remember doing what I'm doing up there, so I don't know what's going on. But I can't always, like, I watch the thing and I go, oh, like a dog watching TV or looking at you when you're naked.
Yeah.
What? Put some clothes on. But I only watch the show when it airs live, like the public with the commercials and everything, because I want to see it from that perspective, because that can give me the most information. But it's hard for me to watch it. I hardly ever watch a show more than once. Once in a while, I'll catch one and I'll watch a little bit of it, but I usually get off it. I can't. It's hard for me to. It's a weird thing.
Sure.
It's a weird thing. It's a lot of different feelings I have when I see the character.
You know, it's so funny, too, that you play that character, and then I was looking at you in your new special, and you lost weight, and you come out on stage, and I don't think you've ever looked more masculine in your life than right now. You look like a union organizer from Chicago. And I'm like,
I look a little like Hoffa.
Yeah, right. You could play Hoffa.
We're going to bring the union back. I want to tell you.
So you're in both these places at the same time.
I think I'm transforming myself as a person, because I think I've, on some level, all my compulsive eating has disappeared. And so I'm really grateful for that every day, that I don't eat compulsively like I used to. And that's a huge accomplishment.
Sure.
And it feels like it. And so I think I held on to the weight with all the loss and all this stuff in my life that I was holding on to. I think the weight was a protection that I grew up needing. And even in my act, I'm not worried about the fact that if I, lose all my weight.
Right.
I just want to live a long time. That's really my main thing now. And hope to play a man again.
Yeah. But that compulsion is so powerful, it just feels like the right thing to do. It feels like
it feels good.
Yeah.
It's a drug.
Yeah.
I would guarantee you that food is as big a drug as any drug out there. And the big problem is you have to still eat. So what you eat. It's been so long, but last night I had the most delicious salad. And I bet I never said that until, I mean, I thought, I'm going to get that salad. That salad's so good. And that isn't my thing usually. I'd like a loaf of bread. Mm-hmm. Can send up some soup with a loaf of bread.
Right.
And a small keg of butter. Because that really would comfort me. There was something about it, because when my dad would drink, my mom would feed us afterwards to comfort us. She would just go, well, why don't you have a little bit of soup? Or would you like a tuna sandwich? Or, would you like, because I think she was trying to make up for, I think she was trying to fix herself and us. And it was a complicated thing. It was a beautiful, palette that I was lucky enough to have to choose from. I mean, I'm still taking paints out of that I never used before.
Right.
With Christine. I'm so lucky. I mean, it's just I go back to this being grateful and humbled by the whole experience, because I can't quite explain it, and I'm trying not to fit it into a box, and I don't try to figure out what Christine is. I just let it really happen. I just know this. I know how women are, because I had 5 sisters, and I had a great mom, and I use them, and I just, every single thing I do are those people in my life, and I don't take anything away from it. I embrace it completely.
You bring up gratitude and humility, and that's the key right there. And I don't know whether you can get that when you're a young person, to get to those places.
Especially if you're an addict.
Yes.
I think it's harder.
Yeah.
Because my dad was a drunk, my mom was a food addict. So there's lots of chemical and food addiction in my family, and everybody suffers from it. And it's killed some of my family,
sure,
those addictions. And so I think to have it arrested, that's how I feel right now, that it's arrested. But, if things got really tough for me, I know food would be my first go-to.
Sure. And it's always right there. I mean,
and you have to eat.
Yeah.
It's like heroin.
Yeah.
You can not do it.
Well, what I do, I try to
bread.
have a little heroin every day, just a little bit, enough to feel good. But yeah, you are right. You can walk past a bar every day, but you can't walk past the supermarket. You got to have some food.
Yeah, and you know, it's probably the biggest epidemic we have in the country because I see more morbidly obese people than I used to. And I don't mean that I'm looking for them, but, you know, honestly, I know we're all, you know, there are a lot of people who food, you know, because there's a lot of pain in the world. There's a lot of people suffering. There's a lot of people in need. You know, for some reason, isolation, you know, we've got all these electronic things we can do and games we can play, and we can hide in there. But, you know, we really can't hide in there because it does show and it does affect people. And I just think I keep saying, you know, this is what I say when I'm somewhere and talking about people. I go, well, when I'm driving, this is what I practice. Well, there's 2 human beings in that car. There's 3 human beings in the car to the left of me. There's a human being driving the car behind me. There's 2 human beings in this car. I am connected to all these people. And, you know, along with when I'm on the streets of New York, all these human beings that I'd like to avoid right now are my brothers and sisters. And it is really, I think, a crucial thing in the world right now that we get to that point. Because if we don't get to that point, we're doomed. You know what I mean? We're doomed. We pit each other against each other. That's the wrong deal. You know, we have to embrace each other at all costs of our prejudice, at all costs of our fear, of our anxiety, of our insecurity, of our, you know, envy, self-centeredness, and all that stuff. And I feel like I'm somewhat of an evolved person, but I have to work really hard at not wanting to get into my hotel room, lay on the bed, and be isolated. So I'm really looking at that. I think that's one of the things that I learned from my mom. She would feed the kids who weren't getting enough food in the neighborhood. She would go out of her way, say, invite that little girl who plays with you guys. She doesn't look like she's getting enough to eat. To my mom's own detriment, because the mothers would come over, you're fattening my kid up. Stop fattening my kid up. But my mom had a knack, and she passed it on to me, that we're all connected. And I think that's what Christine is. She's connected to all these people. And even on her worst day, she's a pretty good person.
I will never forget the thing that you just said about how we're all connected on the high. I just never once dawned on me.
I know.
I just see those cars.
This just happened to me recently. We were in a car and people were driving badly. And I said, and the guy was mad that was driving. And I said, well, you know, we're all connected. I said, there's, I don't know if you noticed, but there's 3 human beings over here. There's 2 up there. You know, there's 3 over here. There's 1 behind us. And we're all going the same direction. So, you know, one of the things that I think is really happening in the world that I do believe is that as connected as we are on Facebook and Twitter and all those things, it's going to continue. And it's going to move to, we're not going to have cars anymore. We're going to have cars that we jump into to get to work and stuff. We're going to have cars like that. We're not going to have...
recreational.
Yeah, at your corner, there's going to be a car that's coming in 12 minutes and you'll know it. And you pop in and you'll take it to another car that'll eventually get you here to the studio, you know? And then when you go home, there'll be 9 seats in it or 6 seats in it. This is just a thought I had just looking at the world, because I got rid of my car when the lease was up. I go, I do not need a car. I take Lyft or Uber or any other thing, but I'm not having a car anymore. I go, because I know this is the future. I know this is the thing. And I think we all have an opportunity to drop our defenses and drop our differences and band together, because a bigger problem's coming. It would be saving the earth, I think, because, you know, like I'm even like me, I have bags that I take to the store. So because I've been either guilted or shamed into being it. But anyways, my main thing is this. My mom taught me this connection, and I became a stand-up for that same connection, and I think I'm playing Christine for that same connection, because how many people like Christine exist on TV? Not as many as exist in the world. And so we have a lot of people that, and anyways, I don't know where I'm going with all this, except that we, you know, we're all human beings, and there isn't any difference when it comes right down to a piece of bread.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our piece of bread. We are. You know.
The book is Hey Mom. If you have a mom, I think you're going to like this.
Where'd we lose the audience?
No, dude.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's just the opposite. I think that you went really deep there, and I thought that was amazing. Thank you so much, my friend. And the book is...
I always do when I'm here.
Yeah.
This is a great... This Unmasked is exactly right.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Ron.
Louis Anderson, let's hear it from everybody. Thank you, my friend. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I always let people know, Louis@louisanderson.com. I answer all my email. It goes right to my phone. I really do eventually write everyone back on my phone, is, you know, because I just think my money has to be where my mouth is about connection. And I hope we can do this again.
All right, we'll do it again. Thanks. Thank you, my friend.
Here we go. I got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all